Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Werfel, for being here. You know, I was watching all these questions. It reminded me of the days in my private sector life when I was hired to go into bad situations and turn them around, and that's exactly what you've had to do. And I had to report to a court every week in bankruptcy in those situations as a trustee's representative. So one of the things that people always wanted to know in those was, what are you going to do to change things? How are you going to fix things? And I think those are the line of questions that American people want to hear. They want to hear the answers. I've got a lot of questions, so I'm going to ask you just for yes and no answers, and if you want to go back to them, we can. But did you talk to the Treasury about your testimony and discovery today?
Yeah, I consult with the Treasury about this hearing.
Did you supply them your testimony or submit your testimony before?
My testimony today was the report, so they had the report.
Okay. Did the Treasury make any corrections, revisions, or make any suggestions on what you would say or not say or submit today? Yes or no?
I wouldn't say corrections. I mean, I was keeping them informed of how the report was
Did they make
developing.
any?
I briefed them, and they offered kind of, I'd say, high-level suggestions, but there were, as an important point, I don't think we got a single line edit from them.
Okay,
it was more
so you did
general guidance.
Right, so you did discuss with the, you know, Ranking Member Levin said in his opening statement that individuals at the IRS, that targeted groups should be relieved of their duties. I made a quote of that, relieved of their duties. I agree with Mr. Levin. Do you agree with Mr. Levin?
I believe that if there's management neglect or inappropriate conduct, then, and it depends on the nature and extent of the management neglect.
If they targeted groups.
Intentionally, yes, I would agree.
Okay. You have testified several times today that there was no intentional wrongdoing. Was there wrongdoing?
I said there's not evidence yet of intentional wrongdoing, but yes, I would articulate there was wrongdoing. There were neglected.
You testified, like I said, I got a lot of questions, and I don't mean to interrupt you.
Keep going.
You testified that there was neglect of duty. You said that earlier. Do you believe there was neglect of duty?
I do.
So there was wrongdoing, and there was neglected duty, but there was no intentional wrongdoing. Would you agree with that?
There's no evidence yet of intentional wrongdoing, but I'm not going to reach a definitive conclusion until all the evidence is obtained.
Okay. Do you believe targeting of individuals or organizations for political purposes is illegal?
Target with political bias? Yeah, I think there's potential illegality there. It's certainly inconsistent with the IRS mission statement.
Okay. Do you believe it is wrongdoing?
Yes.
Do you believe it is neglect of duty?
Yes.
Did the IRS seek a removal of Mrs. Lerner?
I can't answer that question in this setting, but I can answer that question in a different setting to you directly.
So you can't answer what she was asked to resign or be fired?
Not in this setting, but in a separate setting I can.
What is Mrs. Lerner doing right now?
I can't answer that question in this setting.
Do you believe the IRS, again, I'm going to go back, do you believe that IRS employees who are deemed to have targeted someone for political purposes should be fired?
If it was based on political animus or that type of intent, yes. If the seriousness of the management neglect was to the appropriate level of seriousness, then yes.
Are you aware of Section 1203 of the IRS Restructuring and Reform Act of 1998?
We're aware of the act, but you'd have to tell me exactly which section you're referring to.
Section creates a list of 10 deadly sins that
Yes,
the IRS employees can be terminated for.
Yes.
Are you aware that political targeting is on that or not on it?
I don't have the list memorized, but I can look into it. I think it's implied through other more general criteria. Is my recollection.
It's specifically not mentioned. Can you think of any reason why we should not add the targeting of an individual for political purposes by the IRS agent to that list?
Given these events, I think it's a reasonable suggestion.
Okay, well, I agree, and that's so you know I'll be introducing language to do that, and I hope your agency will support that. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you.